Live from Chicago, it's Good Evening with Pat Whalen!
Good evening, welcome to Good Evening with Pat Whalen. I'm Pat Whalen. As you may have guessed, for those of you just joining us, welcome to Good Evening with Pat Whalen. We're Chicago's only late-night talk show news alternative. What does that mean? Let's find out. Megxit. Megxit. Are you familiar? It's a hashtag, an English import, I guess you could call it, to our American shores and social media channels. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are breaking off with the royal family, and people are upset. That's not true. The Queen's upset. That's pretty much it. I don't really care. I mean, I'm for it. I don't know. When asked why, Prince Harry said he's quitting his job so he can spend less time with his family. Relatable. They're just like us, except they talk weird. I don't know. Florida man was arrested for handing out free marijuana because it was Christmas. That's it. No, there's more. On December 23rd, St. Petersburg police arrested and charged a man with possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. And the war on Christmas continues, you know? He warned us. Merry Christmas. On the first, speaking of weed, which I don't do often, not too often, Merry Christmas. On the first day of weed sales here in Illinois, as you may know, as of January 1st, it's legal now in Illinois to purchase marijuana from certain people. $3.2 million was spent on legal weed in Illinois on the first day. That's a lot of money. Yes, it's great. And you know what that means? It means that weed had a bigger opening weekend than Cats, which is very impressive. The movie Cats. Amazon, the company, not the forest, threatened to fire employees who speak out against climate change. That's not great. A group of Amazon employees say that the company has threatened to fire 2 workers for speaking out against the company's environmental policies. Not cool. And asked why, CEO Jeff Bezos screamed, "It's easy! More water, more yachts!" I'm rich! He is, too. He's got a... The employees were told they could find themselves unemployed in as little as 2 weeks if they weren't careful. Although they could bring that down to just 2 days by joining Prime Today for just $6.99 a month. Yeah, we're good. You may have heard Vienna Beef is closing its historic factory in Bucktown. It's so sad, I know. It's a landmark of Chicago. It's been there forever, right by the river. You know where you are because of that landmark, but unfortunately, it is now going to be, it's not going to be knocked down. What you might not know is that they're moving forward with plans to build a Chick-fil-A within that factory. It's true. And that story, again, a homophobic fast food chain is opening up inside a literal sausage factory. We got a great show for you tonight. Great show. It's our first televised episode. Am I reading that correctly? Yes, we are on television. Amazing. A live audience here. It's fantastic. We love it. Thank you to everyone at Can TV. And we have a lot to get to. But first, we're going to play a little game, a little Pat and Penny game here at Good Evening called That Being Said, where I welcome up one lucky audience member. They answer 3 multiple choice questions. You get 2 out of 3 right. You win a prize. If you don't, we'll talk. We have a very special first televised episode person to help me with this game. Brianna Wellen, would you like to tell me who that is?
Yeah, I think we're going to have Ken Davis do this
Ken
one.
Davis! Ken's not good. Oh, come on. No pressure, come on. Ken Davis, everybody. Ken Davis? It's Ken Davis, everybody.
I don't know who I am.
Come on.
There's no need to fake.
Come, join me. Ken, it's Ken, right?
Yes, it's Ken.
Kenneth?
Ken.
Davis, is that
Davis,
Polish?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
welcome. Ken, thank you so much for being here. I explain a little bit more of the game for you. Just to reiterate, I'll ask you 3 multiple choice questions. You get 2 out of 3 of those questions right. You win a prize, and if you don't, we'll talk. Sound good?
I'll do it.
Okay. Are you a politician? That was pretty, it didn't quite answer. Okay, first question. Okay. Defense Secretary Mark Esper
Yes.
worked at defense contractor Raytheon before joining the Trump administration as defense secretary.
Okay.
How much money did Mark Esper make as a salary bonus when he stepped down at Raytheon? Is it A, $600,000, B, $1 million, or C, $1.5 million? Ken?
1.5 million.
1.5 million is correct. Hey, good for Mark. Mark, he was hurting, so that's good for him. He landed on his feet. Hey, speaking of Raytheon,
Hey,
Ken.
speaking of Raytheon,
How much did Raytheon stock go up after the drone strike in Iraq last week? You heard about the drone strike, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So we had a drone strike in Iraq.
Presumably they had the technology, so
Right, we had
it was their
we had
technology.
the justified
Yeah.
imminent threat that we can't explain. How much did Raytheon stock go up after the drone strike? Is it A, 1%, B, 1.5%, or C, 2%? Ken?
I'll go with 2.
You'll go with 2?
Yeah.
2 is? I'm
Wrong.
sorry. I'm sorry, Ken. I'm sorry, it's 1.5%.
Almost.
But good news, no, Ken. 3 questions.
I
You got
quit.
1 right, you got 1 wrong, you got 1 left. You ready?
I got another chance. Okay.
Excellent. Okay, so your third and final question, okay? What percentage of Trump supporters polled said they were in
100.
favor? Well, easy, Ken. What percentage of Trump supporters polled said they were in favor of bombing Agrabah? And Agrabah, for those of you keeping track at home, is the fictional country from the Disney movie Aladdin. What percentage of Trump supporters wanted to bomb Agrabah? 21%, 31%, or C, 41%? Ken?
I got to go all the way. 41%.
41% is correct!
Yay! Thank you, President Trump.
Ken Davis, you win your prize. A Chicago Newsroom mug and a pad from Can TV, and there's a Can TV pin in there as well.
Is there really?
Thank you for playing That Being Said.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm going to take you out to lunch.
What a pleasure.
All right? Ken Davis, everybody. This is a sprightly fella. And now, I am very excited to welcome actually back to the Good Evening stage, although it's not back because this is a different, you know what I'm saying, second time being on Good Evening. I'm very excited to welcome, please give it up, for CJ Run.
I know you want it bad, yes you do. Ain't nothing wrong with that, make your move, girl. She stood at about 5'7" and I was a measly 5'3". Scratch my chin in complexity like I hope this girl does once for me. 1 + 1 did add up to me and her getting back to her bedroom sheets. Blunt road, now we're looking too friendly. I tell her, come on baby, jump for me. Come on baby, jump for me. Please don't take your love from me. Wait. Mind if I can undress like tangerine pill? I must confess that you hardly seem real. Are you from Earth or somewhere around the globe? I don't know. I know you want it bad, yes you do. Ain't nothing wrong with that, make your move, girl. I don't know how to act when I'm with you. It's so brand new. It's so grand. Wait, she hit me with an FYI, I like boys too. Well, me too. So come wind your waist like you mean it to, and then reach for the sky and the ceiling too. You leave with me, that's by and by. Cross my heart, then hope to die. Honestly, I am so terrified. I lost my time and all my sight, and love for me is so blind. And Stevie won't believe me. No, need you now, not never later. Keep me sprung and crawling back for. You are the one I do adore. Want nothing less and nothing more, no. So tell me what we're fighting for. Tell me. I know you want it bad, yes you do. Ain't nothing wrong with that, make your move, girl. I don't know how to act when I'm with. It's so brand. I tell her, come on, baby. That's the song.
There's so much happening with weed. You know, it's really tough that it's for sale legally now, that many people are faced with the tough decision of how to break it off with their dealer, with the person who brought it to them illegally. I didn't know people did that, because it's illegal. So we here at Good Evening decided it was time to help these people through this transition, and decided that we were going to come up with some reasons or ways to break up with your dealer. Breaking up with your dealer. It's not you, it's legislation. How to break up with your dealer. Between trade wars and inflation, chalupa prices are at an all-time high. I gotta cut back. Just me chalupas? That's okay. What can I say, bro? I'm high on life now. Oh no, life is a strain at my local dispensary. It's good. 45 to life. There's something there. I don't know. Well, easy. How to break up with your dealer. I'm really into crack now. Turns out it is a gateway drug. I've been deployed to Iran. I can't pass the physical test. Are you kidding me? That's not happening. And finally, how to break up with your dealer. Sorry, buying the new way fixes all my potholes. Pun intended. Tax revenue. Bow, 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 bow. It's all legal for you now, boys. Thank you all for being here at our first televised episode of Good Evening with Pat Whalen. I'm very excited for our next guest on the show. It's actually, it's an alderman. It's someone who works at City Hall. Can you believe it? I'm very excited to welcome Alderman Andre Vasquez to the stage. Give him a hand.
Ready?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Papa Squad.
Absolutely. Hi, buddy.
Alderman.
Pat,
Thank you for being here.
thank you for having me.
This is very exciting. I am really glad to have you, not only because this is an exciting night in general, but this is your first time on the show, and you have been an alderman for quite some time now.
Yeah, veteran now.
Yeah.
6 whole months.
You got the stripes, right? How's it going?
It's amazing. It's
Yes?
Really, yeah, it's really good just to have the opportunity to be able to solve all kinds of problems, from potholes to larger legislation. So, yeah, it's an honor to be here.
It's an honor to have you. I scribbled down a bunch of notes. There's a lot of stuff to get to, but
Sure.
one of the things I love about you and your approach to being an alderman is that you are really using social media well to document what it is you're doing, and you have a digital rundown almost every day of what it is you're doing, and you are doing a lot. What has that been like? Because I really feel like you're one of the first aldermen, at least, to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought about what my life was like when I wasn't in office. Like, I would love to know what these people do all day, which I think everybody says. So I really wanted to demystify the role and have people stop looking at it as like someone you have to like bow down to or whatever. Like, I refer to it as basically the ward janitor. So you might as well get a view at like what we do all day.
Fair enough. So what do you do all day?
Fix potholes. No,
There are a lot of them.
if you catch the rundown on social media, it's anything from talking about, like, this morning we were voting to appoint the Commissioner of Public Health, to going through cannabis law, obviously, to anything at the local level, economic development. So every day is chock full of something new, and it's really exciting to do.
Cannabis, pot.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
But
Got it. Yeah, it's another word for that.
I just use the legal terms now, so it's just like,
Because it's legal. I mean, there are a lot of other things going on, but like this, I think so much happened at the beginning of the year state-wise, right? Like Illinois, it's now legal everywhere, but we had Heather Staines on the last show. Yeah, right. There were a few holdouts, right? Isn't that true?
yeah, well, as far as everywhere. So you can't smoke in the public way, you can't smoke in a park.
Slow down.
If your landlord says you're not supposed to smoke, if
My
you're
who?
condo board.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so there's almost everywhere.
Almost. I will say an alderman said that.
That's right.
It's very good to know. But that was, I mean, it was so funny that beginning of the year, a lot of people were like concerned that there was a database being made, and like I feel like we have gotten through a lot of rumors about what this law is going to mean on the ground level. And one of those is how this is all going to apply to the city of Chicago. It really feels like, not you, but some folks in Chicago are trying to figure out how can we make money off this, and not just the people who are selling the cannabis.
Right. I mean, it's like any other, if you think about, what I've always said is if you go back and think about alcohol, right? The Kennedy family was selling this stuff when it was illegal under Prohibition. Once it went legal, you're talking about really growing an industry and ultimately generations later being in the White House. So when you think about a substance like cannabis, which is, for all estimations, less dangerous than alcohol, and the possibilities to not only be a salesperson for it, but the ancillary businesses that then come with it, there are tons of opportunity, especially when we all need the revenue to come in.
It's interesting you say that because I think it was Marco Rubio, it's one of these Trump fans on Capitol Hill, was saying that, you can't say that alcohol is a safe drug. And so what we're going to do is take another controlled substance and make that legal? That's a problem. It's almost the opposite of what you just said.
Yeah.
How do you respond to Marco Rubio on my show?
We'll ignore that as Marco Rubio for our intent. But if you think about really the two substances, it's not equivalent. I've yet to see a bunch of potheads fighting because they smoke too much, right? So when you think about why certain substances are viewed in a certain way, we know historically it's racist, right? Like when you refer to it as marijuana, it's because it was attributed to Mexican undocumented folks who lived in the country, right? So over time, we've had this reefer madness narrative keep being pushed, and now we have the ability to undo that. So yeah, I'd say whoever has the view that Marco Rubio is sharing would be wrong, and maybe they need to go smoke.
So you talked a little bit about basically destigmatization, right? We are going from a society that was like taboo, you absolutely can't do it, well, except certain places, not the public way and parks and stuff like that. But, I feel like there's a big mental shift that needs to happen with folks, especially those who do not partake and will not, even now that it's legal. Yeah. Do you see steps being taken? It's very early. I mean, this isn't going to happen overnight. But have you thought about like some ways that this can be done besides like, just puffing a joint in front of people and being like, it's fine, it's legal, man?
Well, if you're doing it in front of people, contact high is a completely different thing. So I would say there are lots of ways that we can work to destigmatize it. I got a head start on 2020 and publicly came out and said that I consume cannabis. So Juliana Stratton, our lieutenant governor,
was
purchasing on January 1st. So I think as you see more people who can actually admit and come out and say that they consume, and you recognize like, oh, they're productive members of society, not what somebody would have thought, right? That will help destigmatize it. I think as the market develops and you see different social equity partners really develop those businesses, it's going to get to that point. I think that the part that's scary for some who just haven't had the comfort level is what that's going to look like. And you can tell in the legislation, it's very restrictive.
So when you're talking about public consumption, you mean like if a head shop or a tobacco store or someplace said, like, just like there are cigar rooms where you can, smoke cigars inside these places, you would be also allowed to consume cannabis?
So that, yeah, basically based on a state law, there are only two places that you could have public consumption. One would be a tobacco shop, the other would be a dispensary, and that's it at this point. So all those people going to Lollapalooza, I guess you can't bring your weed this time.
Well, at least it's very cheap and easy to get these licenses for public consumption, right?
Oh yeah, clearly.
Great. No,
it's like a lot of other things. The people who have like the first are first in line tend to be those who are affluent, more privileged, and have the money to actually set up a business. You need to be able to have a brick and mortar. You need to be able to have security to do it. So it's restrictive. And then there's a second round for social equity applicants. That's people that have been impacted by the war on drugs. But even then, I think it's like a total of 47 licenses for Chicago and like some of the nearby counties. So I think, like I said, I think people are trying to do it responsibly and kind of see what happens before they start opening it up further. I believe over time, we should get to the point where we're having restorative justice measures where if somebody is a street entrepreneur, rather than looking at them as a criminal, you offer them pathways to actually legitimize their business. That's going to take some time, and those are things that I want to be able to work on.
You know, you talked about the social equity aspect of the bill. Last episode, you know, not to brag. I don't like to brag.
Right.
But on the last show, we had Senator Heather Staines, who was one of the people who really have been working on this bill for almost 4 or 5 years. And they put a lot of time and energy into the equity aspect of that bill.
Yep.
How do you think they did overall with what they had, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to commend the state legislators because Illinois, and we should be very proud of this, is the first state to actually have it done through legislators. Like, it wasn't a referendum vote, right? Like, that's, yeah. And if you think about our state, to have all those different like downstate players and like the different city to actually come to enough votes to get over the finish line, and think about the 770,000 expungements that are included, right? Like, yeah, the fact that there was this thought behind having social equity be at the forefront of it, that there's revenue to create programs to help out with that. I think they should absolutely be commended. I think there's still more to go. Right, so the fact that it is law is great. All legislation are living documents, and now it's our job to make sure we work and make that even more progressive, and not just lead statically, meaning now, but continue to lead as other states are going legal as well. We do other stuff besides weed too.
What's in November?
This thing. It's an election.
Yes. Hey, you're running for committeeman.
Yeah.
In the 40th Ward.
Committee person.
Committee person, thank you.
2020, man. 2020.
Committee person, 2020, welcome to the future. What does a committee person do? They run committees.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, guys.
Cool,
Bye.
good to see you.
No, so committee person, the way I really describe it is you're the representative and organizer for the Democratic Party covering your ward, right? So you want to make sure that voters are turning out to vote, that they're engaged, that they know what's going on, that they're registered. Really, like, the way I view it, because I'm an organizer by nature, is how do you really inform people about what's important to them and why it's in their best interest to stay involved and pay attention, because there's always elections going on. We don't really, as a society, do a lot to teach folks about this stuff.
I noticed that.
Yeah, and I you know, it's deliberate, right? If people don't know why it's important, they don't turn out. And so I think we need to really base it on values that I think people share, so they're able to turn out for whoever their candidates are, but that more people at the table and in the political process helps us all really have our voices heard. And so that role is how I view where we can do that in the 40th Ward.
But there's a lot going on in your ward, in the city, in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think most neighbors, when you talk to them, are really concerned about our budget like everybody else, right? So what I really try to focus on are kind of one, cannabis legislation, as we've discussed. The other is really figuring out sources of revenue to be able to really help out our budget crisis. The other thing that I'm really passionate about is publicly financed elections. So doing fair elections and allowing folks who can't raise all these large funds to actually be competitive in races. Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah, I think those are the things that I really want to focus on. I also want to make sure part of what I've been talking publicly about is creating like an arts district in the 40th Ward, just bringing in more murals, making housing that's affordable for artists, being able to kind of create that kind of incubator space. Because I think when you think about what art can do, and that's why it's an honor to be a vice chair of that committee, it brings people together, it educates folks of all sorts. You communicate things, the expression you're able to do with art. I think it's something that we should be championing and really, really proud of as a world-class city when it comes to that.
Thanks so much for making everything so accessible on social media. You know, you really are demystifying the process and making everything a lot more accessible. So me, personally, as a guy with a talk show, I would like to thank you publicly on that talk show.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
And give it up for Alderman Vasquez for coming on the show.
Awesome, thank y'all.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you. Are you kidding me?
That was awesome.
It's empty. Man, wow, cool. What? This is great. Enjoying myself. Having a really nice time. And I believe now we're going to have our second musical performance from musical guest CJ Run. Give it up.
I wanna write you a love letter. I wanna tell you I can be better, that I can be. I wanna write you a love letter and tell you I can be better, yeah. It took a minute when we first made contact. Your eyes were scheming, I could see that you were on that. Hey, my name is, and it's nice to me. I see the way your body's catching bodies on this beat. I see the way your feet are moving fast to the sound of my heart. Bodily autonomy, misogyny apart. I ain't seen you round here yet. Oh, you're an actor. That's a nice touch, hands soft and righteous. I told them I was making waves around the music. They say life is just a game, so you can play it how you. And they just moved from Massachusetts. They've been staring at my tulips since I opened up like tulips. And I'm past the feeling stupid. I'm that man. Wait, no, I'm that woman. No, I'm that person. The one who loves and the one who nurtures, the one who hurts. And I. Speaking of which, what's your flower of choice? All I've got's a Mini Cooper. Do you want a Rolls Royce? And could you hope to keep me warm at night? Fitted corduroy, you got my head top landlocked, Central Illinois, and I just met you. But I'm not trying to sweat you, so meet me in the rec room, or we could find a bedroom. But you can call the shots, we're popping off and we'll be dead soon. I don't want to make it seem like everything is just gloom. I see the way you blossom and you bloom. Would you be down for holy matrimony up in June? I know it won't be holy since we both do what we do. Your father is a pastor and I know he won't approve. But when I speak to you, I get a little bit flushed. You're a little bit much, but you're perfectly enough. Cascade in the rain, baby, every time we touch. I'm gonna write this letter for you, please don't rip it up, no. I'm gonna write you a love letter and tell you I can be better, that I can be. I'm gonna write you a love letter and tell you I can be better, I can be. I can be. I can be.
Thank you for being a part of this awesome artist-driven city of Chicago. And thank you for being at our first episode here on Can TV.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Shucks.
Thank you all for listening, too.
CJ Run. Hey, give it up for Tom Schwartz and the Good Evening House Band, ladies and gentlemen. What do you say, Tom? Give it up for Tom and Good Evening Band, ladies and gentlemen. Always wanted to do that. Thanks, y'all. Thank you. Give it up for the band one more time. Hey. And you know, I mentioned all the folks that helped me put it on, but I just want to thank everyone who watched on TV, my mom, the guests, Ken Davis, Alderman Andre Vasquez, CJ Run, all of you for being here, all of you for watching, the band Can TV, y'all. Can TV. And for those of you watching and curious, these are available facilities. It's called public access. Public, that's you. So check them out at cantv.org if you're literally not watching us there already. And as always, have a good evening.